Props. I love it.
Yes, sir. Welcome. Got Modai in the house. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm also well. Appreciate it. How's your playoffs been going? Well, I let people roll in here real quick.
It's been all right. It feels like every time I go on a run, it's followed by the last 2 days I've gone 1 and 2. I try to limit myself to like 2 or 3 or 4 plays a day, like basically no more than 2 in an individual game. So the last 2 days I've had 3 each, and I've gone 1 and 2 on both. And that like prior to that, I had been up 3 straight days. So it's like whenever I feel like I'm getting in a groove and things are starting to go well, I have like the last 2 days. I don't know. How about you?
Same. No, 100% same. I've been going volume in the playoffs anywhere from 5 to 7. Usually I had a couple days with a few more. And the bad days, it's about mitigating the bad days, no matter what your unit size, obviously. And
Yeah.
it's a little tougher to do with betting with volume, but I am trying to get a lot of these bets in right now with some of the profit that I've made. So it's gone like +3 -2.5, -3 +2. Then it'll be like 3 straight days of like plus 0.8 units and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit tough because it's like it's obviously a little bit back and forth. It's like, do I zag on the zig? Am I just going to go the opposite of what happened last game because of adjustments? What do I do with when these teams go home? I think I need to do a little bit less like diving into the stats and a little bit more game theory, conjecture, context. Yeah, and like adjustments and like, do you see this happening again from this coach? Like, what do they want to do? So it's a bit more coaching, I feel like, once you get into the postseason, to your point. But let me get into a couple of things here with everybody. If you are new, jump in those comments. What's good, 36 Chambers? We're going to get some people in here. I think we'll be a little bit slower, although people are rolling in now, but we are doing this an hour earlier. I've got my bets rolling on the bottom line that I've made, and I'll just get into some of that real quick. And then I think we'll just start with, obviously, Cavs, Celtics, and we can jump into that Mavs and Thunder. Cavs Celtics is all about who is and who is not in. So this is a bet I'm playing because I've just been playing it. So I'm just going to keep playing it because they haven't taken my odds away in a way that makes me deterred from playing it. So at -105, Tatum 6+ points and Brown 5+ points in the first quarter has hit 5 times in a row. I cannot see them slowing down in the first quarter. The reason I keep loving this bet too is Jaylen Brown is going to do Jaylen Brown stuff in the first quarter and take a million shots. He's hit this 5 number, which is a pretty key number because he's hit 5 4 times in the playoffs, which allows me to say he's hit 5 all 9 times in the playoffs this season, this postseason. And it allows me to say he's hit 84% of his bets in the first quarter if you give him 5+ points and don't go above that. The 6+ for Tatum is he started playing the whole first quarter after KP went down. So with Porzingis out, it was like Tatum's playing all 12, Brown's playing the first 9. They've stuck to that this whole series. They stuck to it the final game of the Miami series as well. So that makes it 5 games in a row of us getting this level of him. So I've got him in there. Quick couple others because I gave Garland out last night for a half a unit while we were waiting on the Donnie Mitchell news. It's gone up to 21.5, and I took it for another half a unit at 21.5, which you can see. Let me make sure I got this. I don't even have that. I'll get this stuff on the bottom line in a minute. But that's where we're at with Darius is like, yeah, if he's going to take another 25-ish shots, then I'll take him to get 22 points. He's averaging 21.5 without Donovan Mitchell in the last like 30 games that he's played without him. So this is still a good number for him, even at 21.5 to me, because it's still even money. So that'll be on the bottom line in a minute. Same concept with Max Strus. I was like, I'm getting in on over 2.5 for +120 because that could happen with Donovan in. He's been at about 6 threes, right? With Donnie in there. Then the one game he's out, he goes up to 9. And that's what he was on the season when Mitchell was out, was 9 attempts from deep or 8.5 or so, whatever. So I was good with that. We're going to get another 45 minutes. It's just going to be the same level of like, hopefully we can win this game with shot variance and just take as many threes as they do and see if we make a few more, even though we're ill-suited to do that against this squad. And then just finishing it up this game, Papa Al, I went under again. I know this has dropped from like 20.5 a couple games ago to 19.5. Now we're at 18.5. And he's just the Luke Cornett minutes from last game gave me a little bit of confidence that he'll be able to go back to that, Joe Mazzulla. So if he's not going to hit his catch and shoot threes or even take them, because now he's at basically this should be about 12 in the last 3. He's 2 in the last 10 shots from 3 that he's missed all of them. The catch and shoot stuff for him hasn't been working. I don't see a problem with the assists, which are all the way down at 1.5 now. Like it's a very rare moment in time at this point when Al Horford's getting assists because it's either catch and shoot or just find another dude to pass to. And so, yeah, the usage and all that stuff, it's all down for Papa Al. And lastly, I know I have the Dallas Mavericks logo up for Giddey. That wasn't intentional, but I kind of left it up because I was like, yeah, if I'm the Mavs, this is one of the best
He's
players.
Basically a secret agent. Yeah.
He's the saboteur on the Thunder or something because he is not contributing effectively. And he's got a minus 5.5 per game this series, which is by far, that's per game, the worst on the Thunder. When Mark Daigneault starting this dude is like, yeah, we'll start down 5.5 points. Whatever. We can come back from that. It's like at some point, Aaron Wiggins needs to start and you need to stop playing this man. So those are the 5 I'm going to get rolling on the bottom line. Can I ask you to if you have any thoughts about those and then ask you for a bet from this Celtics Cavs game?
Yeah. So I'm with you on the Jaylen Brown portion of the first quarter. He's been a staple. Like I really didn't start looking in the first quarter until the end of the regular season. Now in the playoffs, he's been like, I've taken his first quarter point prop every single game this series. We're 5 games in. We're 4 games in. He's hit it in 3 of 4. And he hit it in the one game that Porzingis missed in the Heat series. So he's cashed it in 4 of 5 in games that Porzingis has missed. In the books, they don't adjust. They keep it at the same line every single time. And all they do is they divide their point total by 4, and they put that for their first quarter. And then I'm guessing they're going to adjust that next season because the general public's going to catch on. But there are certain players like Jaylen Brown, like Joel Embiid, a lot of the big men like Porzingis is honestly like that as well. Like a lot of the big men are like that. And then for the Nuggets, it's Michael Porter Jr., but just people that shoot more in the first quarter for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And so he's actually hit so his main line is 5.5. He's hit that in 6 of 9 playoff games. That's very nice this year. And like you said, every single one he missed, he's had exactly 5.
Right.
So like if you're giving me a floor of 5, then I'll gladly take him to just make one more bucket, one more 2 3-pointers, foul, whatever it may be. And the Tatum thing makes me a little bit nervous because that's not what he's normally like. Like this playoffs, he's hit his first quarter point prop in like 5 straight games, something like that. And if you look at last year's playoffs, a 20-game sample size, he only hit it in 8 of 20. Normally him and Jaylen Brown just switch. Like Jaylen Brown starts hot in the first quarter, carries that into the second quarter, and then Jason Tatum kind of carries it in the second half. So like this year's playoffs, he's been phenomenal. It makes me nervous just because that's generally not how Tatum does it. In that, like he normally doesn't start fast, but this year, yeah, I think he's hit, like I said, in 5 straight games, if I remember correctly.
Yep.
Yeah, he's had 5 straight games. And that's what makes me feel good about the Jaylen Brown one, because I'm like, if Brown's hitting it in 4 or 5 games, in the same games that Tatum has hit all 5, then that just like has a way higher ceiling potential. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
Tatum scored 16 points in the first quarter last game, 12 in game 3. And Brown still went over last game and had 5 the game before. So I love the Jaylen Brown one. The other bet that I have in this game is Derek White over 2.5 made 3-pointers. This is basically just like betting on him to get back, maybe not making like 7 a game like he did that 3-game stretch, but just get back to a little bit more of what he was before. Like that 3-game stretch, he made 8, 5, and 7 3-pointers. Since then, he's made a combined 5. Right. So it's like he was always going to come back crashing down the earth because that's just not sustainable. And now I think it's kind of time for him to go back into making 3-pointers. Like last game, he only attempted 4, and that's the lowest he's attempted these playoffs. And the last time that he had a game that he attempted 4, he went. I have it in my notes. This is the first quarter. Sorry, I'm looking at props.cash and I'm still filtered. Last time he attempted 4 3-pointers. The next game he attempted 7. The next game after that, he attempted 15. So it's really just betting on the
continuing.
Yeah, betting on the attempts and just betting on it to swing back the other way. Like he had a 3-game stretch where he was Steph Curry. He had a 3-game stretch where he was late career Klay Thompson, and now we're just getting back to probably a little more normalcy. So those are the 2 I have in this game.
Real quick, Klay Thompson catching strays over here. No, we're good with it.
With the Warriors.
Yeah, no, that was a fair blow. I think like the Warriors are still a team you're allowed to trash on, and most everybody outside of the Bay Area of the state are going to be like, yeah, great. Like it's like trashing the Yankees to most people. It's either they're like, yeah, I'm a Yankees fan, or I hate the Yankees. So
nothing's the Yankees. Yeah,
precisely, exactly.
Yeah.
And I think it's fair to say right now, even though they're at the end of this thing, the Dubs are still in that sense. So I start sharing my screen to pull up some Derek White while you were talking, because I think that's a good look. I'm gonna put that on the bottom line for the plays that you have as well. So for those of y'all rolling in, The bottom line is scrolling with all the bets that I've got and a couple of the ones that Modi then just added for this first game. Derek White, 2.5 made threes. Was this not 4.5 like 3 games ago?
Yeah, and it was like, so I actually got a bad price. I locked it in at -125. You can now get it at -115. So even better. But yeah, I mean, just look at that. 3 games where he was the best shooter in the world. 3 games where it slowed down a little bit. And then in the Heat series, it was the same thing. And that's just what 3-point shooting is like with these guys.
Yeah. 100%. That's just what it comes out of variance. And then whenever you get the moment to back someone who recently had a bad game, I tried that with MPJ last game, same logic. And it was plus money for 2.5 when I took it. And then went 2 for 7. And it was like, he took 2 last game. He's going to take 7 this game. Like, it happened. He didn't hit them, and that's that. But they are making a point, by the way, to shut down his 3-point shots in general for the in the other series. But we'll keep it here for a minute, obviously. For the Derek White thing, I'm with you. I think that's a great look. I didn't put him on here because I thought there was a couple other things I just liked a little bit better. So the bets that we just went through, I mean, Strus is going to pull, right? And Darius Garland. And then the other one that I didn't add yet, but is on the bottom line, or I didn't show you guys yet, that I haven't talked about, is Peyton Pritchard. I took him for the 11.5 points and assists in this situation. And with guys like Peyton Pritchard at this point, there is the reason I really like taking him these days. I loved it when it was at 7.5 points, 6.5 points. That was great. It's gotten to a pretty ridiculous place, but I like adding the assists and the points because he's gone up in his minutes that aren't just garbage time. So you get 2 bites at the apple with Peyton in the sense that he's going to play 22 minutes as a regular, rotation player who comes in now in the first quarter as a part of the first subs, or he's going to be, coming in the
garbage time
in the fourth quarter. Yeah. And so I think we're all expecting garbage time with a 15. Like, it feels like the Donovan and Jared Allen news is partly them just being like, all right, we're good here, y'all.
Wave the flag. Yeah.
We won our game against you guys, so we're going to keep it moving. But let me see real quick. So Peyton Pritchard, I mean, if you want to get into the numbers, great. Otherwise, it's just simple. It's 11.5 points and assists combined. I don't want to have to guess which one he's going to do. But I think he's going to continue to be that, because if this thing gets out of control quick, then he's going to play. This is 26 minutes in a blowout. 22 minutes was a pretty close game. They lost this game right here. And in the first game, they also kind of blew him out by the third quarter. So I think we're good for that to go back to Peyton. I also think that Kornet is a good look there, to be honest. I think and this is going to go back to what we were just saying, right? Like, he played 8 minutes in game 3. And if you just abide by that and go, well, he was at 21 and he went down 2 games in a row, then you're going to go, why would I go over on Luke Kornet here in game 4? But the reasoning would, like, if you were able to have this level of foresight, would be Al Horford played 39 minutes the game before. He can't do that in back-to-back. He probably shouldn't have done that in one game at this point, to be honest, when you don't need him like that. Kornet had a bad game the game before, but if you trust him at all, then he should come back and have another 20 minutes. Plus, you get the blowout stuff as well in terms of him being out there. I didn't check if he's at the PR would be what I would go with at 8.5. So I don't have to try to decide, but I'm just going to put that in here as a lean for Kornet, because it's the same concept of, do you think he's getting the time if there is or isn't a blowout? Did you have a thought about Kornet or Horford in general?
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. Horford, I made the mistake of betting his threes last game, because if you look at his attempts, he's firing away and he's not making anything. So it's kind of similar to Derek White. I was like, all right, I'm just betting the opposite of that, because he's good. Like, my thought was that they're going to keep playing him heavy minutes because they just want to end this series. Like, for the last 2 years, the Celtics have been in 7-game series in the second round that had no business going 7. So I thought that they were just going to put these guys out of their misery. I thought they're going to play Horford more. And he just isn't, like you said, in your under PRA, he's just not making shots. Like, he was 0 of 6 last game, or 2 games ago. He was 0 of 4 last game. Yeah. So that under makes sense to me. Yeah. I mean, that speaks for itself. Just a bunch of red. That's crazy.
And this was all red before they dropped it another point to 18.5. And they obviously took away the juice for the 18.5. So now you got to drink that. But or as we both seem to say too often, eat the juice.
I say eat the juice. Yeah, I don't know.
Whatever. For freezer pop. But okay, let me, before we get away from this game, let me just make sure, because we've basically gone over most dudes in this game, and I think this just comes down to, like, Karis LeVert is out, Donovan Mitchell is out, Darius Garland, Max Strus take a ton of shots, right?
Is LeVert confirmed out?
I thought that he was.
I thought he was questionable. I always thought that he was going to play, but maybe I'm wrong.
Really? Yeah. No, you're not wrong necessarily. I don't even know where he ended up on a injury report, but he doesn't have props up. and oh, there we go. Now we do have his props up. So I don't know. Some people were talking about him not playing. If he does play, it's the three of them that I'm going over on for the Cavs, right? It's LeVert. And then the other sneaky one was Sam Merrill, if he has props up yet, because he might not, but he will once.
Yeah, they might wait on the official news for guys
like
that.
Right. For LeVert, you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. So LeVert would be the thing that's sort of controlling whether or not the Karis LeVert, or the LeVert is controlling if the Sam Merrill stuff comes up. I just want Sam Merrill stuff anyway. Like, he's going to shoot another 6-3. So if it's 1.5 or something, or you get really good juice for over 2.5, then yeah, I mean, it's about to be F it mode for the Cavs. Like, what are they going to be like? Sam, no, we need to be conservative. It's like, no, we got to throw bazookas at them and unload our arsenal, right? That's it. So I also considered Dean Wade, but he freaking burned me last game. Through like 3 quarters, he had the Tony Snell line going 0 attempts, all that. Yeah, exactly. So I don't necessarily want to go back to him, but he would be. I think Dean Wade's probably going to make me look silly by going over this game. I'm not saying take an under. I'm good on going back to him. I've got a ton of bets in, so whatever.
Sorry, other guy, dog. I'm muting myself every second because he's barking at who knows what.
But it doesn't matter. Like, all good. Honestly, I'm just glad my dog hasn't barged in here yet. Okay, if you're going over Derek White, then did you have negative correlated thoughts about Drew Holiday or no? Because I'm certainly not betting on Drew Holiday the rest of this postseason. I do not know if he's going to be aggressive and shoot or not. So if you want anything, maybe the rebounds and assists. But one of the reasons I've been avoiding Drew rebounds, even though actually I guess he's gotten them a bit better, but I was avoiding them when he was guarding Donovan Mitchell, assuming he was just going to have to put his hand up on a 3-point shot, 90% of the possessions, which kind of held true, but he still ended up getting boards. They kind of switch between Mitchell and White if they have to. Like, there's nobody either of those dudes are good to guard him. So did you ever thought about Drew? He's a straight pass for me right now. Yeah,
I mean, I would take his under points. I just he's so hit or miss that he's had 2 games where he's been scoring. All right, perfect. I'm betting the under that. Like, just look at that. 4 games where he didn't do anything. 5 games, sorry, where he didn't do anything. And then he kind of called himself out and then had 14 points. And then he did nothing in game 2 when they got absolutely smoked. And then he called himself out again. And then he had 18 and 16. Like, to me, I'm fading that. Like, he's never a guy that's going to look for his own shot. And if the game does get out of hand and it's Tatum, it's Brown, it's Derek White in the first half, he's just not even going to bother shooting.
Right.
So
yeah, as soon as they start making,
I didn't bet it. Yeah. The problem with the problem with having so many in the same game is that if your prediction on how the game goes is wrong, then you're like 0 for 6. Like, you just don't hit anything. You know what I mean? So if it is a Drew Holiday game and not a Derek White game, I don't want to lose both plays because that's what I thought was going to happen. You know what I mean? So
I do.
That's why I personally limit myself to 2 plays, 2 player props, and maybe a main line in a game, and not more than that. So that's why I've been playing 3 a day. But
that makes a ton of sense. I'm with you on that. I've got to be better about it in general, because once I have this game theory and I'm like, let's lean the hell in.
I know. If
you're going to do that, then you stack stuff in the right way, right? You're like, okay, I'm just going to play a few props, but then if my theory is right, 2+ assists for this guy, 5 for this guy, I'm just going to go, alt over on this dude for instead of 15, if his prop is 15.5, let's get him to take 20. Cause I really think he's going to be the dude shooting the ball. Yeah. And you can just sprinkle on it that, right? I think that's a smarter play when you get into the playoffs. One dude real quick, Eric, what's his name? Eric Stone betting was a dude that I was kind of talking to last year when I was doing more Gold Boys stuff. And he's really good at this stuff. And he knows when to sprinkle and just find those right plays and just lean the hell in. So I think that's a good look there. Did you have a take on the side or total in this one? I mean, it's gotten out of control, right, with the number. So
I kind of feel like the Cavs haymaker was game 4. If they were well, obviously they won game 2, but you consider the shorthanded Cavs. If they were ever going to steal a game without Donovan Mitchell, it's going to be game 4. I mean, I see people in the comments I want to bet Celtics -16. I think they're going to beat the living daylights out of the Cavs. I feel like I took the Celtics spread in game 1, and I took the Celtics spread in game 3. I feel like I've got a good idea. The Celtics are the kind of team where they could sleepwalk through a game, kind of like they did in game 4. I mean, they would get a lead, and then they'd be like, okay, we're good, and then they'd miss a bunch of shots, and then they would come back. I kind of feel like they're going to beat the daylights out of them. I would probably lean towards the under as well. I do. Sorry, I'm just laughing at a comment.
What do you say?
I was just stretching and it said Matt showing guns. Not much to show there. I can promise you that. I was just pitching.
Yeah, you got pistols, dude. Whatever. You got a little,
But I appreciate the compliment. I have been moving all weekend, so maybe I've accumulated some mass.
The worst task in the world.
I do know that there is like a correlation between high spreads and unders. That's like across sports. It's in the NFL. That's in the NBA. Whenever there's like, I forget the exact number. Like I know Chris B. Kappen probably has all that data.
Yeah.
But like when there's a spread of X amount of points or higher, the under hits. But yeah, I mean, I think to answer Kelsey's question, Celtics smash, absolutely. And I also see another question, and I'm curious your thoughts.
Yeah.
Benjamin Miller asking about Hauser over 3.5 points.
I just pulled him up. Yeah.
I was looking into this one. I ended up not playing it, obviously. I think the 3.5 number is like, you get why the books are pricing it there, because he's either going to make 2 threes or not. So like you could do 3 plus and probably get that super juiced. But yeah, I was debating the Sam Hauser one, especially with like blowout potential and stuff.
The blowout, yeah. So it's the blowout, right? That you look to for Hauser, because he's been a really great PRA under, to be honest with you. Even if when you get it over 6.5, then even when he hits 2 threes in that same game that he did do that, he didn't have a single rebound and assist. He also just lost all of his minutes. Now he played 15 in the last one. Once again, it wasn't even a blowout, to be honest. They were just giving backups time in the middle of the game because they were like, no Donovan Mitchell. They took it easy. I would agree. They just like, I don't think you see scrubs getting any kind of minutes outside of like the middle of the fourth quarter when they're up by 20. Like in the third quarter, they're not getting that look, right? When they're still like, okay, we just need to step on their throat and end this thing, so we can legitimately just sit people. And that's when you have to depend on Hauser. Whereas Cornette and Pritchard, you at least have the safeguard of they're going to get legit minutes regardless of the score of this game. So that's my hesitancy. That's why I go to the other 2 backup white dudes on the Celtics, Cornette and Pritchard, as opposed to Hauser. But Hauser will be in there in like the second quarter. Now it's the same thing as like playing like Ben Shepherd over 6.5 PRA. Like, do I want to assume he's going to hit his open corner 3? And they're going to be open, right? Those dudes are going to get looks. Hauser maybe a little bit less, but it was interesting. In the first couple of games, they were like, and Prop Bomb brought this to my attention, which was like, they are making sure Sam Hauser doesn't score. They were giving him the Michael Porter Jr. treatment. Like, this dude's not allowed to shoot. And they were just all over him. That was one of the games that Derek White went like 7 for 12 for 3. But now they're like, wait, actually that guy, we have to make sure that
turns out that guy can shoot. Yeah.
Turns out that dude's also better at everything than Sam Hauser. So anyway, I'm not gonna take a Sam Hauser bet at this point either. I've got my eggs in the other basket. I still have Cornette as a lean as opposed to an actual bet. But when this video is done, by the way, on YouTube, the final bets that are made and not just the leans will be in a comment there, so everyone knows. But what are you gonna say?
The last thing I'll say before we move on from Hauser is, if you're gonna bet his points, I think I would rather bet his 2+ made 3-pointers, because that's at plus 200 odds, him to make 2 3-pointers. And if he's going over 3.5 points, he's probably doing that from 2 3-pointers. You know what I mean? Like, unless he off chance he gets fouled on a shot or like randomly scores. But how often does he go over 3.5 points and it's not from 2 3-pointers? It's like it's never.
It's such a great point. I'll tell you right now. Let's look at the season real quick, because I love the does this dude need to make threes to get his points thing?
Yeah.
And that was a part of the impetus for me going, under for Al Horford, because I looked at that specific number and was like, well, if you don't think he's going to make the threes, then you don't think he's going to get the PRA in general. So let me do that real quick for Sam Hauser. Let's put him at it's 3.5 points still.
It's 3.5. Yeah.
And
I'll put real quick,
3.5. Go ahead.
Plus 200 at Bet365. Someone was asking.
Yeah, I saw that too.
Bet365.
Yeah, money getting. Head over if you can get Bet365, which is available freaking everywhere these days. So
yeah, I might put a half unit on that as we speak.
So we're gonna say over 3.5 points and 0 to 1 threes. Is that what we're saying, to see how often he does that?
Yeah.
And the answer in the regular season, do I still have? Yeah. I think I might have this. Hold on, let me get this. So do I still have it on play? What do I have it on? Did he only do this?
He's only happened 6. Is that what it? I'm confused at what.
Can't possibly be the case. I think I must have a filter on that I'm not realizing, but I don't think I do.
Wait, so what does that mean that he's?
So what I'm saying here is, if he makes, this is attempts. My bad. He never takes that many attempts. I should be on made stuff. So it's for made threes. So what I'm doing is I'm taking his made threes and putting him at 0 to 1. Sense. right? So if he makes 1 3, how often this or less, how often this season did he get 3.5 points? 10 out of 30 times.
Yeah.
So, and he's averaging 2.9 points in those games. So he's not taking very many twos. And it also means if he doesn't make 2 threes, he doesn't get over 3 points.
Exactly. Yeah. So I feel like,
yeah,
you're going to be pissed if he somehow scores 5 points and like he gets like a fast break layup where he doesn't get back on whatever. But for plus 200 odds versus like probably even money, I would much rather go with the 2 plus 3s.
Yep. I dig it. And to those of you that's a perfect look for our boy. For those of you talking about Drew Holiday rebounds, I totally get it. One thing in this series, he's gone over 3 of the. Well, this should be. I probably just have this in the wrong. This is just head to head. My bad. Playoffs head to head. He's gone 3 of 4. Right. He's averaging the 5.8, and that's barely over because he barely goes over the rebound chances. I just want to look at real quick. A decent amount of them. It's still a bit more of a crapshoot to me when you also consider that Drew and company might not be getting blowout minutes. So just keep that in mind. But before I move on, anything else from this game? I think we pretty much hit everybody. I guess Mobley is a look people are going to ask about. I've just kind of been staying away from a young dude who,
when I
can
see
get foul trouble.
Read out like that, and it makes me want like that's too square. People are going to say, oh, he's gone over every game, and maybe he does it for the 5th game in a row. Maybe he does, but I'm not like I stay away from stuff like that.
Yeah. And once you have 2 of these where he's barely climbing over, the shots for him are still dependent on dudes passing him the ball. And Garland is going to be looking for his shot. So is Strus. If Karis LeVert plays, so is he. Obviously, so is Sam Merrill, Dean Wade. All these dudes are just not really facilitators. And Evan Mobley isn't someone that you just go, let me dump this off and you go ahead and take over. Like they want him to shoot more, but now the game plan is shoot and pray. Just pull and pray, for lack of a better way to put it. You know what I mean? Pray and pull, whatever it is. So anyway, pull and pray, pull and pray. Let's get over to the other one real quick and see. Did you have anything for that one? My bet right now for that is under Giddey, and I have a few looks I want to get into. But if you have something you played already, would love to hear it.
Yeah, I have one, and I got to be honest. This series, I just can't wrap my mind around it. Like I've only played one game. I played 2. I lost both of them. Every other game I played 1. I've only hit 1 bet in this one. It was Shea over points last game. Granted, I got burned. I had PJ Washington over his 3s in game 1, and then he's hit it every game since. So part of that's bad luck. But anyways, that's just to preface that. I took Shea over 6.5 assists. If you look at his so go to his potential assists, and you'll see exactly why I'm on. Like he went under the last 2 games. He went under 6.5 assists. But look at those potentials.
Yeah, they're
consistent across the board. Like if you're telling me these comments are getting a little wild. Spray and pray.
My bad. I know. I can't set the tone like that. We're gonna get way.
No, you're good. I got a dong report going on. I talk about getting wet on my NBA.
True. You say dong a million times a day on Twitter. That's fair.
Yeah, so you're good. Trust me.
Right, cool.
But yeah, I mean, just look at those potential assists. Like his last 2 games, 14 and 15. He's gone under 6 assists. Yeah. Role players are going to shoot better at home. They can't just let SGA continue to cook them. And that, I took SGA's over in game 3 because they give up his points, because the Mavericks give up so many pull-up jump shot opportunities. Like they like to drop their bigs on the pick and roll, like the Lively, Gafford. They're not going to push up on that. And then he's cooked them for 2 straight games. Yeah. SGA has. I think actually maybe even 3 straight games from his points perspective.
33, 31, 34, and it's gone up to 31.5. That's why you see this 31 is red. But not very many players you're going to see them score 31 and it not go over for 30.
So his point total, what I took his over, it was 29.5. So that cashed the over for me in that 31 points. But regardless, even if he goes off for 34 points, he can still get 15 potential assists. And I think that again, he could have the same exact shot profile, and I'm guessing he'll go over at home as opposed to on the road where they their offense was terrible in game 4. They had no business winning that.
Gross. Agreed.
No business winning that. It's all because of Kyrie decided he doesn't want to score. Like I got burned by that in game 4 because I was like, there's no way he's going to continue to be this quiet.
Same.
He was. Turns out he was. And I didn't have the stones to bet Luka's under because I did that. I should have. I should have. I didn't have the stones. I didn't for Brunson yesterday. His under was probably a good. I saw that you were on that. Not to call you out
because things did not age well.
Yeah, I was like, that's probably a good play, but I am not going to get burned taking someone like Luka and Brunson. They're under, even though they're probably good plays.
Yeah.
So, anyways,
that's a fair point.
Yeah. So, anyways, I know I kind of rambled there, but yeah,
No,
SGA.
I just want to touch on your ramble real quick because I fully agree. Brunson was a bad play. The only thing about Brunson moving forward is like MSG is the home court advantage of the playoffs at this point. I
Yeah,
don't think you
that's
can
true.
argue that. We're not a sane group of people. Those of us who root for the Knicks, like I think it's fair to say that there's something wrong going on up there. And
You're talking
you
to a
know,
Philly
so
fan. Trust me.
that's true too. You got how about screws loose? That's a fair point. But yeah, that's so for Brunson, that's the case. I mean, OKC, yeah, they're gonna be going wild, but it's also like Shai's been having good games. Brunson owed us a 40-pointer again at that point, especially with DDV shooting like crap. So yeah, I think there's something to that, but I think Luka is legit hurt. I think I oversold the injury for Jalen. Plus, I oversold Neesmith's ability to guard him. But if you look at the Dorcher chamber versus Aaron Neesmith,
it's a very real thing. Yeah,
it's a real thing. Plus, you got his backup defender real quick is Jalen Williams, who is also an All-NBA defender. So there's two dudes just coming right at him. It's not TJ McConnell and Aaron Neesmith, who not the same, right?
Yeah.
But all right, so let me let you finish your point though about SGA assists, because I agree. What I came in here to look to support you was 38% field goal percentage for the game from the Thunder last game. So it's hard to get even a 50% assist hit rate on your potentials when your team is shooting 38% from the field, 26% from deep.
Exactly.
Right. So that has to come back around. For those of you waiting for another Lou Dort 3-point game, could happen. I don't know that I'm going to bet on it, but it's all correlated to what you're saying for SGA assists. So you did hit him at over on this number right here,
6.5. Yeah, it's plus 110 now. Another play I didn't get good CLV. I got it at plus 100 right now. It's plus 110. I think that's a hammer, and I would even ladder him up to that 8 number. Like you could probably get 8+ on FanDuel. It's really just like 2 games where he probably had a little bit outlier conversion rate, 2 games where it's outlier bad conversion rate. It's just like it's going to swing back the other way. And sometimes it's not always that simple. Yeah. But it's just betting the numbers at that point. You know what I mean? Like if he's getting an average of 14 potential assists, I'll gladly take him to get 7 actual assists. That to me, that's what that comes down to.
Yep. I get that. I get that thought entirely. I stayed away from his assists from the standpoint of last game because I was scared of that. I said the rebounds were a way better play than the assists. So I actually took him for the PR, and I did that 2 games. I did the PR this game. I did the PA last game, and I did think in game 3 you got a little bit of decent shooting from Oklahoma City. And then in this one, everything just fell to crap. And this is the dude right here that I would quickly shift into. J Dub, excuse you.
Or sorry, J Dub. Yeah, not J.
You're forgiven. The 5 for 19. I needed to go back and look at the tape a little bit more. They were not bad looks. I just went and just found, by the way, high low or whatever it's called. I have it bookmarked. I'll put it in the description of the video if you guys want to use that too. But because you can just go to high low and then you can specify which players highlights you want to see, so you can get real nitty gritty with it, which is great. But if you do look at that, he had good shots. So the 5 for 19 is something I'm definitely banking on progressing. I took his RA in this game because I was a little bit scared, which hit really nicely. It's still only at 10.5. So I would take the RA again at 10.5. I don't know why I didn't. I guess just because it went up 1 and I felt like I was losing a little bit. And I thought he might shoot a little bit more than pass in this game for him to get 6 dimes again, right? Like he was at like 10 potential assists for J Dub. I'll just pull him back up real quick because I think I agree with you on the Shy bet. If you're going to go for Shy, you can go to RA or just assists in general. And I think that's the better play here. The points at 31.5. I do think it's a situation where it's like, oh, okay, good. Shai's good to go. Let's just back the hell out of Shai. And it's like, well, hold on. Like this is where we talk about in the playoffs, where it's like, no, there needs to be an adjustment made and an overcorrection to the fact that dude just torched you and was the reason that you won. Plus, everybody better be shooting 1,000 free throws a game or at practice for that Mavs team who lost at the free throw line. Like,
that is why they lost.
Nasty. Yep, that's nasty. So for J Dub, like it's still, like I said, the rebounds, the assists, the RA, I think those are still good. You can get pretty close to even money for him to get the 11, which he's done consistently, but just as important, like everything's been there for him. The potential assists, 9, 10, 11, 10 the last 3 for the series, basically at 9, right? 9.5 or so. So I think that's a good number. And then to get the 6 that he needs, like he gets a little bit more assists because he passes on drives. That was one thing I was looking at for his RA, was in the playoffs. He's at it was on 24% of his drives he was passing, and that assist rate was pretty high as well. It was up there with it. So I like that. The rebound chances for J Dub as well just to show you. I mean, he had 20 last game, so let's be a little bit chill and not just go crazy. I think you can predict about 10 to 12 is a better look. So 10 to 12 to get I think it's actually 6 boards, right? And 4.5 assists. So yeah, the 6 boards, I like that. The 4.5 assists, I'm glad that number is lower. And the fact that it's so, minus 160 and you add them together, you get close to even money. I think that's a really good look if you combine those. Did you have a thought about him? Are you ready to just like go and reverse on the points and be like,
mine would be the points.
Yeah.
Because if they sell out to stop SGA, which I'm guessing they're going to do, like Jason Kidd is not someone like stubborn coach who's just going to run the same thing over and over again. Like he's going to switch things up. And like to their credit, their defense was like why they missed the playoffs last year is because they couldn't play defense. It's this year. And why they went to the conference finals 2 years ago was because their defense was great. So he's going to get them playing defense. And I honestly like game 3, even though Shai went over, I would have thought he would go under in game 4. I thought that the Mavericks were keying in on his moves. Like he's very herky jerky and he doesn't win by athleticism. So I thought that if you can kind of guess his movements and where he's going to go, you could I thought Derrick Jones was doing a pretty good job on him. So obviously I didn't play it and I'm glad I did. But either way, I just think that they're going to play Shai a little bit differently. Like they're not going to let him get to the pull up mid range, which is where he cooked. Like if he's making shots behind the backboard like he did last game, so be it. But a lot of times he's scoring from the mid range, and that's why I liked him in game 3 because they do give up a lot of those shots. My guess is that they're not going to let that happen again. And for maybe for SGA, yeah, and maybe they're going to make the argument of like, we didn't lose that game because of our defense. We lost because we couldn't score and because we couldn't make free throws. But that's just not how coaches are wired. Like they're going to say this guy went off for 34 points. Okay, let's not let that happen again.
Right. Yep.
Yeah.
That's what I'm starting to adhere to a bit more. Now, like some dudes, maybe the coach doesn't have a choice. Like if Jason Tatum decides to be aggressive and get 34 points or 29 points or whatever, then Jason Tatum's going to do that. There's nobody on the Cavs that you're like, well, this guy might get in his way. No, Jason Tatum gets in Tatum's way. But when it comes to a guy like Shai, where it's like, all right, well, we're just gonna have to throw 3 dudes at him, and at least now he's not 6'10" like Jason Tatum who can just shoot over double teams. Like we can get the ball out of his hands the same way Ant got the ball taken out of his hands. Like you just got to realize at some point that you'll live with other guys beating you. But J-Dub is a fine 1B or secondary.
He's awesome. He's an awesome player. Yeah.
100%. So I think you can take the PRA. I think both of us are saying that like similar things. The points are a good bet. I agree with them entirely. I'm so in love with the rebounds and assists. It's just kept me from betting either, which means I should probably just take the points, rebounds, and assists. You know what I mean? Because but I haven't figured out the best way to play it, and I'm torn between his PRA, just his points, just his RA, or maybe I just sprinkle on like him to get 25 plus in this game, and just leave it at that.
I think even though he hasn't hit it this series, I think the PRA is probably the safest way to go.
Yeah.
Like from my opinion, without just from not watching the games and just if I were just to look at the numbers, if you go back to his RA for a second, like seeing that he's hit it pretty easily the last 2 games, that would scare me off because that to me would scream outlier. You know what I mean? Sure. And I would have thought the same thing for Shai, and he's crushed it basically like every game this series, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. So sometimes like playoff basketball is just a little bit different.
Yeah.
But that's my thoughts. Like that seeing 14 and 15 and the over under still at 10.5, that would scare me off.
Yeah. I feel you.
And Shai's been at 12.5. So they bumped it up to 13.5 because of how much he's been killing it. So he did get hooked last game at 13.5. The first 3 games was at 12.5.
Right. Yeah. And now we're still at 13.5 and you don't really get the edge there to the over with minus 115 is the best number that you can get for the over on the RA. So I agree with that. I know a couple people were talking about a couple other things. So, let's at least just start with this and we'll get into Luka, but like Kyrie's a hard pass.
I can't play that. He's probably going to go over. I cannot play that again. I can't. I don't understand what's going on. He was incredible in the Clippers series. He's filming him. Uncle Drew Part 2.
Part 12. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, he's it's a good play. And if you have stone testicles, which I don't have, I think it's worth hitting. But that is a scary, those 2 out of 3 games scoring 9 points. It's crazy.
Yeah. That's and in the 9-point games, how many shots did he take? 8, 11.
In 11. Yeah.
And this is like after game 3 rather, where he took 17 shots and went crazy in the second half, all of his post-game comments were, yeah, everybody told me I need to shoot more and be more aggressive. Okay, well, I thought would you call 11 shots aggressive as your team is throwing away a lead in the fourth quarter? Or is it time yet, Kyrie? Like, when is it time? So I can't rely on dude at this point. I mean, he's always been a he's a much mentally healthier person, I think, than he was at one point in his life.
Yeah.
But I don't know what that does for his psyche to just be more aggressive on the court, I'll be honest with you. So Kyrie's a pass. I know Free Sauce and a couple other homies in the Discord have been on his assists. And honestly, to be fair to them, since they've been on his assist, I think they started calling it at about 11, right, with the game that he got 11. So that was a good look by some of the people in the Discord, including Free Sauce, who leading that charge. Now it's at 5.5 for no juice. I don't know if you still think it's worth it. I don't know how you differentiate between the games that he's going to do this and the games that he's not. You know what I mean? So I'm kind of just like I said, I don't have anything for the way that the defense is playing him. It's just, does Kyrie choose to do aggressive things this game, or is he looking to pass? I actually think you can find a bit more of an edge looking at Luka. And it's gotten kind of out of control. He's at 28.5 points, which is wildly low for Luka Doncic, who, by the way, during the regular season averaged 33 points per game.
Yeah,
so
crazy.
Now the shots for Luka in the playoffs. Did you have a thought on him, or you're not going back to? You already said you're not really playing an under for a dude who can just score 40 at the drop of a hat.
The only thing that I would play that I was debating playing was his under assists, because I think he had 5 in the fourth quarter. But then I saw 19 potential assists, and I thought maybe not. So because I saw that he got 5 in the fourth quarter, because someone was like, I had his double. I woke up or went to bed thinking he was dead. He literally had. I guess I should have fact checked that he actually did get 5 in the fourth quarter. That's just what someone told me. And
well, no,
people that DM you never lie. So I figured that was the truth.
That's a fair point. That's a really good
7.
point.
He had 7 in the
times.
So he did lie. It was more than that. It was 7.
He sold it short.
Yeah.
7. You can't. We've both been looking for a way to break down potentials by quarter, and we haven't been able to find that yet. For potential assists, right? To break it down by quarter.
Yeah.
But like, if you get how many freaking minutes in a quarter? Did he play 12?
Basically an assist.
It would be tough to have more than 7 to 8 potentials on his 7 assists that he got, right?
Yeah. So yeah, that I wanted to take his under assist. I couldn't quite get there because 19 potentials is pretty scary. But in the playoff, the thing with the playoffs is the conversion rate is just not the same it was in the regular season. I think that's what's tough for me to think about. Because in game, I had his assists over in one of the games because he had like 20 potential assists one game, and then I was like, he only converted 9 of those 20. Like, that's going to revert back the other way, and I got burned on that.
Yeah.
So I think part of it is just trying to like recalibrate your brain for the playoffs versus the regular season.
Yeah.
But still,
100%.
I mean, I see 7 assists in the fourth quarter, and I'm thinking, no way. Like,
yeah. He's gone under this really consistently. Hold on. He also got the double-double. It's true. He had 4 boards and he had 8 going into the fourth quarter. So the double-double, it's probably still pretty bad money for him to get the double-double. I still think that's a good play if you can get it at like -120, but I'm sure it's like -160, right? Something like that.
Yeah, I can look that up.
That would be my guess.
Speaking of double-double, I kind of like the value for Shea for his double-double.
-320. Yeah.
3? Oh my God. Yeah.
No, thank you.
I would honestly take no double-double for Luka at +215.
Are they offering that?
Yeah, Bet365 +215 on no double-double.
Oh, wonderful. Yeah, take it. I'm sometimes they don't even offer the no. SGA double-double, you can still get if it's +205 on Rivers, if you can still get it, although you could probably only bet like $10. So good luck with that. Yeah. It rivals points bet, but it's up there for the worst for sure.
They're terrible. Yeah, they're terrible.
Yeah, brutal. It's all like gimmicks and like carnival games. So the double over shy. Okay. Yeah. I mean, you can still get it for a decent number. +205 is just so much better than +170 though on DraftKings if you want it over here. That's not bad for SGA. I think you consider both because when you have both the ancillary props is like
he could do it on both rebounds or assists. That's what I like about it.
And that's what I've been saying with people because people have been coming to me every stream with should I take Jason Tatum double? And I'm like, for -160. And I'm like, it's over 9.5 boards is -130. Well, why would you? What he's going to get?
He's not going to get.
He doesn't get 10 assists. If you miss out on -160 because he got 10 assists, like, oh man, you missed out on minus 160, you know. So I don't think that makes sense. But with Shai or Luka, my homie likes Luka over RA. God love him. I think too often he is a prisoner of the moment, to be honest, as well. Really good better in a lot of ways, but sometimes gets lost in like some recent stats. And if he's seen it happen lately, then he's good to take it now, which I think both of us are more opposite of that.
The opposite of that.
Yeah. So I mean, I can understand that because I think rebounds will still be a good prop for him. If you wanted to anything for Luka in terms of these two, I would go with the rebounds as well. You don't know how his shooters are going to shoot on the road. How many more games is PJ Washington going to make 5 of 11 threes? How many? When's it end?
I know.
Should we get ahead of it?
I want to take his under, but same thing. You have to have brass balls to take his under. I mean, I can't do that.
I know. Our balls are currently made of porcelain. It sounds like,
not brass.
Not brass for
not
sure.
Brass.
I wanted to see if I was missing. I know there was a couple other looks in here that people were talking about from this game. Doncic first quarter. That's going to be a good look. If you do like it, let me see what he's done the first quarter recently. It was a good look when I was like, oh, he's hurt. So like, yeah, this is like the Joel Embiid. Well, get in while you fit in, because both these dudes fall off a cliff in the second half between Luka this playoffs and Joel this playoffs. And in the last two, he has not gone over the 7.5 that he's at right now.
That's probably where I would lean.
8 and 9 minutes. So it seems like he's coming out for an early breather with the most recent rotations. I can't really bank on that because he's not someone who's had the same, like Mazzulla's been like, here's my first quarter rotation. We'll see Peyton Pritchard and Luke Cornett at like 5 minutes, 6 minutes, and out comes Al Horford, out comes Derek White or Drew Holiday, whichever one. Right. And then Brown comes out three minutes later, whatever. Like, we know what that is. I don't know what the rotation is from J Kidd. To his credit, to be honest, like, it's nice to not be able to predict that all the time as the opposing coach. So, but for the first quarter points for Luka, it's not just that he's gone under lately. It's that I don't know what his minutes look like. If you get a first quarter rebounds for Luka, that's actually, I think, been hitting. Let me make sure I'm not lying. Yeah, that's hit in the last 3 because it's at 2.5. And yeah, he's gone cleanly over in 3 of 4. It is crazy. There is some logic to it because I've hit Luka over rebounds twice in a row. I also hit Luka on my beautiful, let me see if I can get that, on my God-loving head-to-head bets that I am just such a fan of on DraftKings. Yeah, I love these head-to-head player prop bets. Do they have DK in Colorado, by the way?
Oh yeah, DK's everywhere where sports betting is legal. DK's there, and it's in Virginia as well. So when I move back, it'll be good.
Nice. Hell yeah. So there was a Chet and Luka rebound head to head. They took here's rebounds. Yeah, they still have it, and I've been taking it at -1.5. So this is another great way to support Luka rebounds and fade Chet rebounds. Because if you want to talk about a man who Chet had 1 rebound at the half last game, similar to what we were just talking about with Luka not doing anything assist and rebound wise until the second half, like. Same for Chet. So I'm still happy to go back to under his boards. I know Free Sauce had that look and has been going back to it. So I think you go with the under for Chet boards if you want, or you can take -1.5 for Luka at -105. That's hit pretty consistently. The rebounds from last game, real quick for Luka. He had 10, 15, and 12. This is when I started doing it. It was 2 games ago, is both those bets. So if you want to go back to that, I still think that's a good look on those head-to-head bets, but that's just one way to fade Chet and support Luka boards, which I support both those things. And that's one bet that you can kind of put in there. Can I bring it real quick to the centers on the Mavs? Because I know that's going to be talked about. Are you done with that?
I mean, the Gafford train was fun in the first 2 games, but I feel like Lively's better than Gafford. He's just a rookie, so coaches don't want to play him. I kind of like his stats aren't really showing it, but I think that Lively is a better player. I just think that it's like a head coach being like, well, I can't play a rookie in the playoffs. Like, that's just not like an old school guy like J Kidd.
Yeah, that's fair. But I will say, interestingly, real quick to your point, I think J Kidd agrees with you. If you look at the fourth quarter, 8.5 minutes for Lively, 3.5 for Gafford. That's been the case the last 2 games. The problem with the Gafford stuff and an offshoot of it being the Lively stuff is how healthy is his dislocated pinky? Because he freaking dislocated it, came back in the same game to help me get over in that game. Then in game 3, I was like, oh, well, if he's fine and they haven't adjusted his points, then I'll take the over again. And then he didn't. He came out a couple times and ran back to the locker room and ran back out. And so, at that point, like Lively, it was one of those things where like Lively just performed in the minutes that were given to him because Gafford wasn't there. And now he's come back. I always thought Lively was a better matchup to guard Chet. But Gafford, I did take Gafford, by the way, and I didn't put this up, my bad, but I took Gafford on the head-to-head versus Chet as well. I took this right here. Gafford plus 1.5 at minus 105 for the boards. He's gotten more rebounds twice. He's gotten 3 one time, which was the game where he came out in game 3 and didn't play very much. And then last game, he only had like 1 fewer and was still good for that bet. So I don't think this is right at all. I think if you want to take Gafford against Holmgren or Luka or both, I'm good with it. To be honest, I took Gafford for a unit there. I should put my bad that I left that off the bottom line. But so I still like Gafford, but I mean, the minutes say that Lively is going to keep getting that kind of burn, right?
Yeah.
I think he had 3 more minutes than this one. So keep that in mind. That's the only way that I played Gafford, was just to manhandle Chet again, because it's like Gafford's kind of his daddy at this point.
Yeah,
for being honest,
Chet needs to put on some muscle.
Chet needs some muscle, big time. But Derek Lively's been really good in his minutes as well. So yeah, I don't think it's like a strong edge either way. But that is the bet that I have for Gafford, which I'll put up in 1 sec. And you don't have anything for Lively necessarily?
No, I just don't know what they're going to do with the minutes. So I kind of stayed off both of them. Like, I know Gafford was everybody's favorite darling at the beginning of the series when Lively played 13 minutes, 20 minutes. But now he's playing 27, 25. I would probably lean towards Lively. Like, points, rebounds is probably where I would lean, but I didn't play it.
I agree. It's gotten pretty high, but I agree that I'd prefer the points and rebounds. During the season, it's not the same, but 15 in the minutes that he was getting there. Obviously played some pretty bad teams as well. So, and there were plenty of games without Gafford before he got there. So I don't think you really want to think on that.
And like had his minutes a little bit lower when he first came back from the knee injury.
Yep, 100%. You do with Gafford, it's still 50-50, but he's at about 13.5. So this is probably an accurately placed line for him. And I would argue for Gafford as well. I think he's up, 16.5 on the PR. That's a decent number. He's been as high as 18.5 this series. And like I said, if you look at him versus Chet, even when he was on the Wizards, he was just sunning Chet Holmgren, right? So he likes his chops with that matchup. So keep that in mind. Good look by Free Sauce on the under first points. It might have been him, might have been somebody else, my bad. But yeah, Free Sauce brought the under first quarter points. I do think that there's a narrative in this game. For Kyrie, thanks. Yeah. There's a narrative in this game of that's a lot of unders. And if I actually make this the playoffs instead, that's even more unders. So
over 10. That's crazy.
That's crazy. 1.5 points. Not scoring in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 first quarters.
In half the first quarters.
Bonkers. That's a really good look as well. If you like under Kyrie first quarter points. And that's a part of the narrative that Luka's scoring in the first half, Kyrie in the second half. It's kind of crazy real quick. Let me just see if I can Kyrie points per game in the first quarter or first half in this playoffs. You got to really get your phrasing down here. With
get specific. Yeah.
I think I can get that. So 6 points per game in the first half of these playoffs. Kyrie in the second half of games in the playoffs. 16 because he stuck last game, scrubbed it up last game. So 16, right? It was at 17 before he decided that he wasn't going to be aggressive after choosing to be aggressive or whatever. Yeah, in his head. Now let's look at Luka real quick. Also love that I can just first name these guys. Second half, 12 points. Not great for Luka when he's averaging 33 on the season. First half, where are we at now? 14. So it's a little bit closer for him, but it was a bigger disparity before last game as well. And then obviously it's a small sample size, so it impacts these numbers. But that's kind of the narrative that we've been going with in the Discord as well. So I just bring that up one more time. I want to see if there's anything that we missed before I move on. Oh yeah, I got my Giddy under in there, y'all. So I think it's time. Are we done yet? Right? Like I was saying, -5.5. Do you have anything with that concept where it's either like, because to me, the conversation is either I'm going with Giddy under or I'm going with Aaron Wiggins over or something to that effect. Right. And I've tried going the Wiggins over once, but I don't like when you get a role player like Aaron Wiggins over 6.5 points when I need him to make like 3 of his 6 shots. Now I'm kind of out. And look how often he's getting 6 in the playoffs. Exactly. Right. So did you have a thought on Giddy minutes or any impact that might have on other players?
I actually kind of liked Cason Wallace. His defense was phenomenal in game 4.
It always is.
So, and it's just, at least Mark Dagnall, he still has his like bias that he can't not start Giddy, but he at least is unconventional and will give a rookie minutes. I mean, Kidd is also getting Lively minutes. So I don't want to just roast him. I'm also thinking of like Doc Rivers, who's just like, well, he's a rookie. Like, what do you mean? I can't play rookie in the playoffs.
There you go. That's what you were trying to say the whole time. This was shade at Doc Rivers more than anything.
Yeah, of course. All the Doc Rivers shade that I can get. So that's when I posted my video, I tried to do it like a day early. They didn't have props out for him yet, or else I probably would have taken his over 4.5 points. Because like 22, 21, then 14, and then 18 and a half minutes. Like he's getting decently consistent playing time, and he's and his defense is so valuable that like even if he misses his first 2 shots, it's not like he's going to get played off the court.
True.
So I mean, doing it in 2 attempts, like that's a little bit scary. Obviously, he has to make both of his shots.
Yeah, that's
but then like 5, yeah. So
You say for the Wiggins shots, is good. 5 at first. Yeah. I mean, and this is for the playoffs as a whole, but yeah, he's a little bit more necessary this series. It is interesting that his shots went down. I do wonder if that's a little bit correlated to Aaron Wiggins being in and then both shooting from the same places on the court. So it is one of those like, okay, I guess I got to choose between Kayson or Aaron Wiggins, and go from there.
Yeah.
So up to you, but they both shoot from the corners where Dallas is the most vulnerable of any of their spots on the floor. Same for the Thunder. They're both
Thunder the same way. Yeah.
Yeah. They both give up a lot with that high pressure D, but you didn't bet on Kayson necessarily.
No, I was debating him. And also part of it is those 2 games he took 5 shots, that was at home. So maybe it's like, he's like, maybe it's a role player rookie in his home environment, stuff like that.
Yep.
Where he played 21 to 22 minutes.
Plus you've got the blowout in game 1. And then I would argue probably needing offense in game 2, but he still got five shots off. So yeah, there could be something to the home road stuff. I do think that comes into play more in the postseason than in the regular season. Yeah. Right. It's a lot harder to sell out a Wednesday night game against the Wizards. It's a lot easier to sell out any playoff game in the semifinals. So so I think if I'm staying away from role players in this one. I'm sure somebody's going to step up. I don't want to have to guess which one it is. It could damn well be Jalen Williams, who came in for Josh Giddey one game instead of Aaron Wiggins, and that was actually the game I bet on Aaron Wiggins was Jalen Williams comes in, hits like 2 threes in the first quarter. You're just like, can't wait to fade him next game. Don't even know if he's going to get any time. So that's where I'm at with those. What about, go ahead.
Well, that's what I was going to say. That's why I generally like to stick away from role players is because unless they're going to have guaranteed minutes, sometimes it's just like, oh, this other dude came in and was hot. All right, he's going to get run now. So you never really know. There's guys like Derek Jones Jr. is going to play. PJ Washington's going to play. Like they're a little bit better than just role players.
Right. That's why I brought up Derek Jones because I think he's the definition of who you were saying, unless. I don't like to play role players unless I know. And that's why I played Nesmith yesterday. He just sucked so much on defense, it didn't matter. And then he didn't even get the shot and he got fouls, which is nothing you have to worry about. But Derek Jones has stayed out of foul trouble guarding SGA. They took him off him for a little bit because he did get roasted a couple times in like the first couple games by SGA. But now he's back to, what was he at minutes-wise last game? 27 last game, 36 the game before. So I don't think you worry about his minutes quite as much. I'm trying to remember if PJ got into trouble, but their defense isn't Derek Jones. You go guard SGA. It's almost like they're playing a 1-1-3, to be honest. Yeah. It's like Derek Jones, PJ Washington, Daniel Gafford, and then wings being guarded by the other 2 dudes, right? Which is a really interesting look. And like, I used to talk so much trash on Jason Kidd as a head coach, but he's gotten really freaking good at it. And so kudos to him. But he used to be kind of a clown, obviously. Either way.
I mean, whatever that was, his first job on the Nets when he was like holding the drink, he was thinking about doing that for years. He wanted to do that so badly. Just have someone walk into him to get a free timeout.
100%. He was the cup only had like ice in it, but like he's like, yo, run into me, and then he spilled the ice so they could get like a delay to talk about the play they wanted to run, whatever. That was some clown stuff. I know people were all over Derek Jones' points last game, and it was, I think, at 8.5 as well. Now you got to take like -130. I think you get -120 on DraftKings still. I'm not gonna do this. It's funny too because a lot of people actually had his threes last game, and he didn't take any. He took he took 5, but he took 12 shots.
Yeah,
he made 1, and that's he's not the best corner 3 shooter. They are leaving him open on purpose for that reason. But then he actually started to drive and go all the way to the bucket, which was the smart play for sure for him. I don't know if I can go handle that though. Like these, if you believe in what he's done the last 3, if he takes 12 shots, I think he can hit 5 of them. For sure, if he takes 12 of them, especially if they're either threes or they're right at the rim, then I need to make 1 3. So I still think he's a pretty good look for the points. I'm loath to go back to him on a after hitting 17 points. He went under with 10 shots right here and barely went over with 12 shots in this game. So it's not like I'm like, oh yeah, he's good for these 12 every time and I can rely on that. So I'm out on DJJ, and I would just ask real quick before we dip here in a sec. PJ Washington when will the madness end?
It's an under for me. Look at that. 29, 27, 21. I'm sorry. If I had to play it, I would play the under.
Field goal percentage in those 3 games right here. So only 37% from the field last game, but from 3, he was 5-11. So he's missing all his 2s, which is only further proof that if he doesn't make the less reliable shot, then he doesn't get the points. So he's
11, 12, 11. I mean, it's absolutely nuts how much he's been shooting. And yeah. Like it's the same like to Derek White. Like that cannot keep up. I'm sorry. His over-under was priced at 1.5 for basically the entire regular season for drinking a little bit of juice for the over. Now it's 2.5 at -136. And I understand why. Obviously, 7, 5, and 5 speaks for itself.
Yeah.
But I can't do it. Like to me, if I would take his under. And again, it's brass underwear, whatever you want to call it, but that's where I would go.
All right, I'm with you on that. I'm still not playing PJ. I haven't played PJ this whole time. I'm not going to start now and just get on the bus this late and then look like just a follower who then, whatever. I know it's not about perception. It's more just like that's how I'm looking at it.
I'm the same way. Yeah, I'm the same way.
Yeah. So I'm not jumping on the bandwagon late. I've always liked to be the guy that was like, you weren't expecting that, and I called it. That's where I live, as much as I can anyway. But there was a good look here brought up by Free Sauce again, which is Isaac Okoro, which I think we should look at for 1 sec because it sounds like Karis LeVert is out. Is that official?
I've not checked.
Okay, yeah, I think that's what Free Sauce is saying though, is that he's out and that he's someone who helps out with the injuries and these things. Let me go back to that game real quick before we roll out because I do have a decently hard stop right now. The Isaac Okoro stuff. If we look at him this season, I still have the playoffs, but let's do him this season without Donnie and without Karis right quick. So 4 games over in all 4 pretty comfortably. Yeah, he's going to get 30 minutes. That's a good point. The field goal attempts 9, 9, 13, 6, right? So, and that was a Charlotte game at the end of the year, whatever. He played 29 minutes, probably could have played more. So, and yeah, these are garbage ass teams other than the Knicks and the Bulls, who, by the way, Bulls overrated defense, but we won't get into that right now. Isaac Okoro points though is intriguing.
Yeah, I mean
7.5.
Yeah, I mean he'll play. It's like he's not that talented of an offensive player, but he's also not going to get I don't know. They're probably going to just sell out to stop Garland, which he's going to take 1 million pull up 3-pointers. So I think your plan him going over is fine. Right.
What I'm going to do with Okoro is I'm going to take his field goal attempts and I'm going to put him from what was he? He was averaging it was what do you take 9, 9, 6, and 8. So yeah, he's probably averaging about put him from 6 to 9 field goal attempts. So if he actually gets the volume on the shots, how does that look during the regular season, just as a starting point? Yeah. Averaging 9 points a game, 20 of 31 that he went over in these situations. His minutes when he's shooting that much are at about 28. So I think that's fair. And if you put him at 30 for tonight, which I think is a fair projection on the 30 minutes for him, then especially with the defense that he brings, looks even better, right? Averaging about 10. So if he gets the minutes, he gets the shots, the stats from the season say that he will likely go over. I think it's a pretty good look if you're trying to go somewhere else. I've got Garland and Strus that I need to make a ton of shots. So I'd rather not rely on all of them when I would say that this team is probably going to put their ceiling at 95, 96 points. Yeah. Yeah. So maybe they get over when the Celtics stop trying in the third quarter or whatever it is. But if you're on the blowout potential here, then Okoro, I don't think there's that many Cavs that you want to be taking overs on is kind of where I'm at with that one. So, all right, I am going to hold true to dipping out. Appreciate you guys all jumping in and for Modai jumping in late. I told you people were pestering me about pestering you, and I think they've been pestering you. So I'm glad to get you on here. You're still doing Dong Report and NBA Daily right now, right?
Both daily. Yeah, this weekend I'm driving 24 hours across the country, so not going to have a ton of stuff. But once I'm settled in, then you can rely on that, and probably hopefully WNBA, but we'll see. I know we were talking about that, but we'll see.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's time, bro. Like I'll get into it with you. We'll be doing we'll get in the W together a little bit too. But yeah, I'm pretty excited. I think mostly I'm excited for the fact that these lines are soft when it comes to WNBA. According to people who have models for the sport that I'm talking to, that's what I'm learning.
By the like, if you get on a line early, it'll change 4 point. Like it'll change. Like someone had someone +9. I was on Kyle's show. I was just listening to. I know you got hot, but like they got him +9. It was like +6 later in the day. It's like you can get wild line movement with the W.
Yep. Exactly. You got to get on it fast. So like if you are tailing along, there's a couple guys in the Discord like Trey and a couple others that are looking at W every day. Like if we put something up, know that that's not going to be there for very long. Not the same as the NBA where it takes a lot to move a line. It's not the case in the W because they don't know what they're doing. So
it's not and it's not as much action either. So like if a lot of people are on something, it's just gonna smoke that line. Yeah.
And there's the WNBA heads that have been sort of called out by the books at this point as someone who's consistently betting the W. It's a lot easy to identify who's winning in a sport where not as many people are betting it, right?
Yeah.
There's less needles and less haystack to find your needle essentially. So yeah, all right, cool. Yeah, we'll be getting to that. Good to hear that you're still doing the NBA every day and MLB. I know that. Check out his channel, Jedi Modai, obviously, and then follow on Twitter is a great look. And the Dub Club and all that. You guys can see all that stuff in the links in the description. I've got the link to the description of the Discord in the. Let me try that again. I have the link to the Discord in the description of the video, as they all are, and the links to all the different sites that we're looking at here as well, if you want that. So I'll have a projections video out probably tomorrow morning. I'm assuming that's when you put your NBA stuff out too, tomorrow morning.
NBA goes out at the night before MLB first thing in the morning. Yeah.
Copy that. All right, cool. Well, check out Modai's channel. Appreciate you being on again, man. And we'll get you back on once you are moved into Virginia and all settled. But yeah, safe gambling tonight, responsible, all that. And then until I see you guys later, happy betting.